All right, this is the K-Gateway community meeting, April 7th. I guess we'll start by welcoming any new members. I think I recognize most of the names, but do we have anyone new who needs to introduce themselves or who'd like to introduce themselves? All right, I will take that as a no. Let's see, now action items from the previous meeting. Omar, design discussion around global gateway attachment of policies.
Yeah, I didn't get to it yet. I think we talked about it a little bit, but I don't think we've agreed on a way forward for that yet.
All right. Should that be rolled to next meeting or?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
All right. Have a note on that. All right. New topics. All right. 2.3 release date. The original target was mid-April. Does anybody on this call have additional context on that or information or updates?
Yeah, I have a little bit, because there's a few community PR that we like to get into this release, but one of them we're still debating if it needs to be gated. It's about adding all the Kubernetes metadata in the online WoW config metadata. Memory-wise, I did some tests. Just adding those tiny metadata, it add about 3 kilobytes per route, where the entire route only use about 5K. So percentage-wise, pretty big increase. But if you have 10,000 route, that's 30 meg more. Is it a lot? No, not really. But then performance tests, I know Chetna did some tests, but I don't think that's very conclusive because there's no difference that we can tell. Maybe it's really no different. Maybe the test does not really test that very well. So still debating. That's kind of related to Omar's topic. How we control this kind of global behavior. The only current option is the global setting that's controlled by the environment variable. That's not the best way to do it for this type of feature. I mean, it'll work, but here, pros and cons always on that one. So it might get delayed a little bit, but should be still before end of April.
Okay. So that is, looks like we're going to slip from mid-April, but we're still targeting April.
Yeah.
All right. Now, usually, are these findings and feedback, are these usually recorded in the meeting notes or? Looks like not. And it's just for, I guess you got to listen to the meeting. Or, oh no, thank you, Art. Perfect. And Art Docs, it looks like this is you again for the next topic. How many versions to keep in the docs? and N minus X support statement.
Yeah, so thanks, Seth. Yeah, I don't know if you want to click that docs link
Sure thing.
here, just so everyone can see what's like currently in the docs. This came up internally as we were, preparing docs for a release. And basically right now, and it looks like it's not actually sharing the doc. I could also share if you prefer.
Sure, you can send me the link. Try again, version support kgateway. Same one. There you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so right now in the docs, we kind of have this version drop down here in the top menu bar, and it shows pretty much most of the versions that we've supported since we released the upstream project as a 2.0. Right now we're on 2.2, and then main is like in development. That's the 2.3 release. And then we just kind of have a table that summarizes, when these were released initially and kind of what versions they're supported. But the question that I wanted to bring up to the community was, I guess, kind of twofold. One was whether we want all of the versions just to kind of keep being in the docs like this, or some projects, especially in like open source upstream, sometimes they only have like latest, sometimes latest in main. I know like Istio project has, like they do have the old versions, but it's not on like the main website. It's kind of like linked to, and they're just kind of like versioned URLs. Like they're not as prominent, let's say, as they are here. And then another question was whether we actually had a, kind of relate to that, whether we have a support statement in, or want one in the docs that says something, like kgateway really only maintains like N version, like whatever the latest version is. And there's not really any support for past versions or anything like that, or whether we want to say that there is support or anything like that. So yeah, I guess I'll just pause and see if anyone has any thoughts or feedback on that.
I think at least there are two questions here. One is, what's the N number? Second is, because we made quite a bit of changes since the initial release, maintaining that initial release will be quite a burden because it's so different. So once we decide to end, maybe we should drop 2.0 to make it easier to support, because there's so many changes.
Yeah, I think that's right. There's kind of two questions in there. So one path forward could be we just kind of keep doing what we have been, which is we'll just like publish all the docs and just mark whichever one's latest in main as we go along, and then just not have any sort of formal support statement one way or the other, which I think is what we have now. Or we could, decide to like drop docs, or maybe like we leave them published on the URL, but we just kind of like hide them more. That's another option. And then if we want it like a support statement, like basically right now this table I think is making people think that all of these versions are supported when it's maybe really not supported. It's more like these three versions are like the released versions, let's say, but I don't know if we really want to say that we support all three of them, if that makes sense. So like maybe we would just say something like the supported version is the latest version, and then just have a table of like all the released versions or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely cannot make the decision, but
Yeah.
to support 2.0 right now is pretty difficult because all the changes that has happened after that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I see, David, thanks for linking the issue from Danian about, yeah, he kind of had similar questions about whether we, like not just kgateway, it looks like his issue is even a little bit broader as to whether we support multiple gateway API versions. So like this table right now just kind of says, you know, like 2.2 works with 1.4 gateway API, but I mean, it also probably works with, you know, 1.3, 1.2 and such, but do we want some sort of formal statement of support or not?
So for gateway API versions, we do have tests that confirm going back to we're currently 1.21 because that is what certain versions of OpenShift pin to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think until that situation clears up, we should do our best to support that far. In terms of the gateway API, yeah, I have less to say about other dependencies and kgateway versions.
So when we say we support gateway API, we need to make it clear that we support gateway API standard, since experimental stuff will be removed or be promoted, and that might, you know, not work as expected. So I think we need to make that clear.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you know, Seth, you mentioned like these tests, are those in, I don't know, like one of the actions or something in the kgateway repo? Is there, I don't know.
You can see them in the nightly tests.
Nightly tests.
Yeah, it runs in CI.
Yeah, that's helpful because then we could just have the doc pull from there.
Let's hope they're actually passing. No, they are not. Well, let's see what the fail is actually. It is conformance tests, and now failing all over the place. We need to get we need to figure out how to keep eyes on that or above that reporting.
So based on this table, does it mean that 2.1 does not support Gateway API 1.2?
Yeah, I think that like this is one thing that people were confused about. And so what we were documenting on this table for the Gateway API was just like the latest Gateway API that worked with the version that we were aware of, let's say. But we weren't thinking of like, you know, oh, 2.2 would also work with 1.3, let's say. But we could add it, you know, like we could update this table maybe as part of addressing Damien's issue for all of the supported ones, like based on the nightly test file, for example. So that it would kind of be like the Kubernetes one that says like 131 to 135.
And then also with, yeah, specifying, like David said, standard.
Yeah, we would also need to do that too. Does anyone else have any kind of thoughts or bits of feedback or anything jump out at you at this table that we want to talk about?
I want the API, I want the AIs to give me correct answers about every version of kgateway. So just, you know, design for the AIs too, which I'm pretty sure is impossible and we have to improve, but it's a mess when you're trying to say, no, you don't understand, kgateway 2.2.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I guess like I almost feel because AI can scan more, sometimes over documenting might be fine. I'm thinking then for now, going forward, I will change this page a little bit right now to say something like released versions instead of supported, just to kind of clear up that confusion. I can update it to, you know, do the standard versus experimental gateway API. And then I'll look at the nightly tests to grab the matrix for supported gateway API versions for each version so far. And then we can circle back on the, you know, do we want to actually have like an N- support statement somewhere, or just maybe not define it clearly, or just say that it's latest, like we'll table that until a later time. If that does that kind of recap what everyone's thinking?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate everyone's input.
All right. We need an action item for that.
Yeah, I can write up an action item.
Thank you. Oh, and I suppose we did not, or actually before I say that, matrix, okay. And then actually circling back, I should look here, comment and start working on the fault injection issue. Was that an action item that had action? Am I no longer sharing my screen?
Fault injection, we discussed it last time. And we got that merged in.
Oh, great. Cool. I guess we are then if there's nothing else to bring up, host for the next meeting. Any volunteers?
Actually, I have a question that I want to ask.
Mhm.
Uh, Basically, I was doing my contribution in Ingress to Gateway, and I saw that only Nginx is the available provider. So I thought Fluid should be added as a provider too, and I raised that issue, and Daniel really liked that. He assigned me a issue in Ingress to Gateway to bringing GlueS to parity with Glue. So I just want to ask if this is a good issue and how the team sees it.
Did you say there was an issue created and assigned?
Yeah, Dan, he assigned me the issue GlueEdge parity with Glue. This is like adding GlueEdge as a provider for Ingress to Gateway. So I'm working on it, although, but I want to ask if how this issue is seen.
Well, what's the question?
Yes.
I didn't get your question, sorry.
So basically, there is this issue, GlueEdge parity with Glue in
Right,
Ingress
right.
to Gateway, right? Uh, in this, I'm just adding GlueEdge as bringing parity to the Glue and working on it. It's a big issue. Like he divided into different phases. So I just want to ask how this issue is seen in the group.
How it's seen in what?
I'm like how you guys like look at this, like adding GlueEdge as a provider for this.
I think we had a thread about that.
Well, yeah, we had a discussion about this. Originally, we were thinking that tools is only for ingress. GlueEdge is more than just ingress. It has a small part that's related to the ingress API, but
Yes, only Ingress and Nginx is there only.
right. But Daniel pointed out that that tool that we fork from upstream, it does actually have other provider that translate into Gateway API. So there's precedent that it does some translation other than just ingress. But it's nice to have, but we don't know how many people are actually using Google Edge API that would need that tools to migrate to Gateway API. The
This,
complexity is pretty big.
I guess there are a lot of people using Blue Wedge, isn't it? Like the conversion, they need this. I did a little research and I thought that you know, this is kind of missing. Blue Wedge should be there.
It's definitely nice to have, and since there's precedent that the original tools does do some other translation other than ingress, but we're all just concerned the scope of this effort is pretty big to be able to translate all the Google Edge API into Gateway API. A lot of them may not map directly.
I also added a PR. If like he was concerned, like I wanna ask if who people like take care of this invest to gateway repo can like give me little help and like review my PRs and all, because I thought only he is the one taking care of this part. He said there are more people, but I didn't know who they are.
Um, yeah, I'm also relatively new to this. I definitely don't have a lot of experience with the Google Edge API. When I first start, it's already a Gateway API.
So he's on a leave. I thought when I was talking to him, I think he's on a leave. He asked me to get help from Umar on the topics and the PR.
Yeah, so honestly, there are other priority even in the kgateway repo. So with limited resource, it might be some delay before anyone can actually get to those PR. Especially we are trying to wrap up features that needs to be go into the 2.3 release. So if you don't mind some delay on the PR, it's definitely a good tools to have.
I will totally like get in contact with the people who can discuss the and the implementation on how to do that.
Okay, so just to summarize, Shivansh, you're just blocked on and you need a reviewer, it sounds like.
Actually, it is. I wanna like. Andy said. I'm sorry. Daniel said there are few more people who like are like good in this part of the thing that you are doing. So I thought, who are they? So I can get more help from them and can do the things perfectly.
Anyone here familiar with the Edge API?
Yes.
To a degree, yeah. Yes.
I cannot hear you, Burger. I cannot like listen to what you said.
I'm kind of looking at the ticket and see what's in there. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
This is a big one.
Wow. That's a full-time job there.
Yeah, actually, I submitted it for GSOC also. So I don't know. I asked if I can submit this as a project for Google Summer of Codes, and he said, yeah, okay, it's a good idea. So I did. And then after he made this issue assignment.
So for Google Summer of Code, I don't think we have a mentor for this issue specifically. The only project that we submitted is for inference extensions. So we're looking at benchmarking based on the LMD existing benchmarks, the agent gateway implementation. So it's slightly different. I think this is a good project for like a future Google Summer of Code or LFX. But right now we just don't have the capacity to, assign a mentor for this.
I actually messaged you for that. Thank you.
All right. We are nearing the end of our time. I think we might have to put a pin in that one and either take it to Slack or roll over to the next meeting.
I did see Arav had a question in the chat. I just wanted to briefly address it. So first, thanks for your interest in the K-Gateway community and welcome. And then regarding the question over whether K-Gateway and Agent Gateway orgs would merge and become one org, I don't think that that's the current direction. They actually used to be part of the same project, at least the Kubernetes control plane for Agent Gateway, but we recently spun that off into the Agent Gateway org. And the reason for this in part was just because the development life cycles of both projects are quite a bit different because they have different use cases, as you pointed out, like Agent Gateway's focusing more on the AI ones. So I think in terms of, if you're interested in contributing to one project or the other, it might just be based on, what type of space that you want to get involved in. But, both of them are open source projects and you're welcome to check them both out. And they have separate community meetings and separate communication channels as well. So hopefully that addresses your question.
Thanks, Art. All right. Back to volunteers for hosting next week. No, 2 weeks from now.
I guess I can host.
All right.
I was about to say, otherwise this would be the fun part for you, Seth. You could just pick someone.
All right. Oh, that's too big.
I can clean up the formatting of it since I've got edit rights to the doc.
Thanks. All right, thanks, Andy. there is anything else. And oh yeah, any new community contributions to call out? No. All right. Well, thank everybody for coming, and then enjoy the rest of your week. Stop sharing. Stop recording.
Thank you. Bye.